Winers, welcome back to another episode of Adultish Wines. I am so excited. Last week we had Dr. Viviana Coles, who was previously a relationship expert on Married at First Sight, seasons 9 through 14. She is a relationship and sex therapist with over 20 years of experience. And so we had so much to talk about that we split it into 2 parts. So please enjoy part 2 with Dr. Viviana. Okay, what about the idea of sleeping in separate rooms if there's a snoring problem, a kicking problem, because really financial and sleeping restless problems, right, are a huge cause of divorce. Yeah. I don't know what I would do if my husband didn't want to sleep in the same bed with me. And this is kind of personal for me because I did used to snore, and I don't want to say bullied, but I'm kind of like, what's her name on the Houston season where like she was kind of traumatized about her snoring. Yes. Yeah. I used to snore, and then I stayed awake for so long and like really trained myself not to snore anymore.
Oh my gosh. You need to start a program too and launch it online.
I know. But if anyone ever says like, P, you used to snore, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I hate it.
Okay.
So, but if my husband was like, I have to sleep in a different bed, like, I don't know what I would do.
So I'm here to tell you, it's totally okay. I don't know why, because I get interviewed about this sort of situation. They call it sleep divorce, which is a terrible term.
Okay.
But basically, I and actual doctors, because I'm not a medical doctor, so like I all probably believe the same thing, which is sleep is so important. Getting good quality sleep makes you a better person. Yeah. So if your sleep schedules, if your sleep habits or lack thereof make it to where you cannot sleep well, my goodness, get another bed. Get another room, get another bed, do whatever it takes. Because look, I can tell you, my husband and I have not slept in the same bed. I mean, that's not true. Probably like once a week or so we do. But and when we're on vacation. But I go to bed like at 1 or 2 in the morning. He goes to bed closer to 9 or 10 at night. I get up like at 6 in the morning. I'm a vampire. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I get up very early in the morning.
Okay.
He sleeps in a little bit later than that. I tend to get a lot of work done at night, and I'm like wide awake. So that is really bad for him. He was so kind for the longest time. I'd be like watching TV, and I even had like the kind with the headphones where I can watch, but like a bright light on you, he would, all of a sudden he'd just look at me like, can you please go to sleep?
Yeah.
So then I'd be like, okay. And I turn everything off, and I just sit there like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. And then I'm like, well, I just get on my phone. And then once that happens, it's like, I'm just up for another 3 hours. So long story short, I feel like it's very important that you get quality sleep and that you join when you need to join.
Okay.
And it actually makes it probably a lot better because you're not just doing it out of convenience, like rolling over.
Yeah, a little bit more intentional.
Yeah, it's more intentional. But I don't think it says anything about your relationship unless you're saying, I cannot stand being next to this person. I'm always angry with them. That's a relationship issue, and you need to address that in therapy. Okay. But I'm talking about the people who are just like, we literally cannot sleep in the same bed together. The other thing by the way, I never said like why, besides the fact that I don't sleep as much or whatever, our bed, like I can't lay in it for more than 20 minutes because if not, my like back locks up. So I need an adjustable, and he can't stand the adjustables because it's like a twin bed, and he's a guy, he's a nice sized guy. So so that for him, he's like, I cannot sleep in a twin size bed, and I'm like, I need all the adjustable stuff. Anyway, long story short, it works for us. It may not work for y'all.
How long
but I don't
have you been
think
married?
It'll be 16 years this month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We figured it out.
You figured it out.
Well, and even I guess now that we think about it, I think a lot of the sleep divorce stuff, which sounds so bad, sleeping in separate beds or separate rooms started when the kids were younger.
Okay.
I didn't have to go into work at the same like early time that he did when he was like 9 to 5. So I would stay up do all the nighttime stuff, no problem. The other thing is for me, I can sleep, and anybody who knows me, I could fall asleep whenever.
Oh, me too.
Like I've been accused of narcolepsy. I don't, but I'm like, oh, I need to take a nap. Okay, done. Whereas he cannot. Like all the environment has to be perfect. And if the kids wake him up, then he was up for like another 2 hours. I'm like, oh no, I can breastfeed,
right,
turn over, done. so that's when it started. I was like, honey, you go upstairs and sleep. I will handle all this every time the kids were little.
Okay.
And it was no problem. And then later on, I was like, why am I putting myself through this? Why am I putting you through this every night? Let's just sleep in for like 6 hours. We're separate. Who cares?
Wow. I mean,
It doesn't mean anything.
I never thought about doing it. And then I started seeing it on TikTok or Instagram or something. And I was like, I don't know what I would do if my husband was like, I need to sleep in a separate room because you snore or you kick or you talk or you're too hot.
What do you mean you wouldn't know what to do? That's a problem. If somebody's kicking me in the middle of the night.
I'm pretty mobile in bed. I think I move a lot.
I think you need like a sedative. What the heck? You expect him to be like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
love it.
Be a man.
Be a man, get kicked and startled in the middle of the night. Sorry. You're surprised he hasn't kicked you back.
That's fine. Kick me back.
No,
Let's stay in bed.
I think your future husband would appreciate knowing, hey, it might hurt my feelings, but I'd rather you that than like grumpy all day.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm not sold on it, but it is nice that
it's an option.
It's well, that you're painting a realistic picture of it, and it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not. It's really not. It's really nice to be able to just stay up and read if you want to stay up and read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like TV in bed either. So if they like TV, it's not.
Okay.
Good
luck with that one.
It's not going to work for me.
Good luck with that one.
Okay, can we go over? I have some questions from, but I want to go over first your book, which I want to grab.
Yay!
Yay! The 4 intimacy styles. I took your quiz.
Okay. So yeah, y'all, there's a free quiz. You can do it online, forintimacystylesquiz.com, forintimacystyles.com, drviviana.com. It's everywhere. But yeah, take the quiz. And what it does is it will help you to figure out what percentage of each of the 4 intimacy styles you're currently at. So what that means is bonding, release, giving, and responsive. It's different than the 5 love languages. A lot of people are like, how is it the same? Or it's different because the 5 love languages, basically you have a primary love language. Amazing. Emotional intimacy has been forever changed by Dr. Gary Chapman. Like this book, it was written in 1992.
This is the love language
yes.
author? No, I did not know
Nobody knows that because it had this resurgence that I'm like, awesome. Like it's just so wonderful. And it's been super helpful and very easy. It just, people connect to it. So people would ask me, okay, but what about sex? Because if you've read the book and not just taken the quiz online of the 5 love languages, Dr. Gary Chapman is very clear. Like, this is not about sex. Sex is a totally different thing.
Right.
And so they would ask me, but what about sex? And I said, okay. And I would tell them what about sex and this whole thing. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a book to just get it out there. So what I'm asking everyone to do is find out what percentage of each they are. And in order to round out their intimacy style, they need to try to get as close to 25% of each, so a quarter of each in every sexual experience, every or nearly every sexual experience, in order to stay connected intimately, physically for the long term. Yeah. Why? Okay. Now, knowing that, let's see your results.
I didn't, because I haven't read your book yet, but I just did the quiz and I was like, cool, I think I'm in a good spot. I don't think I'm in a good spot. Okay, so you said they're bonding, release, giving, and responsive. Mm-hmm. I am 0% responsive.
Okay, I'll tell you what that means in just a moment.
Okay, I am 13% giving. I'm 25% release.
That's good.
And 63% bonding.
Woo! Okay.
I also want to tell you that I do align to anxiety attachment style for dating. So that might make a little bit of sense.
It does make sense.
To a few of those, but tell me
what's wrong with me. Does make sense. It's not so much that it's not that any one thing is wrong. There's a lot of things. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Honestly, my therapist tells me that same exact thing every single time.
Well, when we get together, your therapist and I, to talk about no.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If you are high in one of them, what that means is that your partner probably isn't going to be getting their needs met.
Okay.
That's the only reason that I'm like, look,
stick to 25-ish.
Stick to 25-ish because it's a very practical way to make sure that you're getting all of your needs met and all of their needs met. And fortunately, if you're in a long-term relationship and it's a monogamous relationship, you should, if things are going well, you should have lots of opportunities to practice, to have these sexual opportunities to give and receive in all of these ways. But the problem with being so high in bonding is that if there is a dry spell, it may spell the end of your attraction to them. Because people who are high in the bonding intimacy style, what they're saying is, I feel connected with you through sex. Mm-hmm. So if there isn't sex, I go into panic mode. I go into, oh my gosh, this is not going well. They don't want me. What's wrong with me? And they kind of get into this panic mode. And
I'm getting a little flush because it's sounding correct.
And unfortunately, we're not robots. So there are going to be times where maybe sex isn't at the top of the priority list, and that should not spell the end of the relationship.
Yeah.
It's something to work through.
Okay.
So when you typically feel most bonded, or even some people only bonded when they're having sex, I feel like that puts them in a position where if you don't have sex as often as they want, then they feel disconnected. And now all of a sudden you feel like, oh, they're pulling away. And you're like, no, I'm not just, I don't only feel connected through sex.
Yeah.
Now, giving is for those people who are like, oh my gosh, giving you pleasure makes me feel so worthy.
Yeah.
Makes me feel a loyalty, a connection. It makes me feel like super proud. It makes me feel like you'll never leave me. Mm-hmm. And then release is whenever you're feeling like the ecstasy. Your body just says, hey, oh my gosh, I needed that. And thank you for being a part of it.
Okay.
And that's a really great feeling. People can get like high, right? It's euphoric sometimes. Sure. And then responsive, which you aren't any. Typically responsive intimacy style looks like, oh, I don't often have spontaneous desire myself, but when my partner brings it up and we end up kind of getting into things, I enjoy it. And then I always think, why don't we do that more often? But throughout my day, I'm not the person who's like picturing that person walking down the street naked and wondering what it would be like to have sex with them. I'm not like fantasizing. I'm not looking for like opportunities to have solo pleasure and masturbate. But if my partner brings it up, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do this. And it feels nice and it's good and I enjoy it.
Okay.
The problem with having 0% responsiveness, because a lot of people would be like, well, that's great. Like, you bring it up all the time. Is that then it becomes a little bit of a burden on your partner because you're always bringing it up. They know that you're always up for it. And that leaves little room for them to initiate because they know you're always ready.
Yeah.
If it's kind of like if you had a dog and the dog was always standing next to the door, like ready to go out, you'd be like, oh my gosh, then you're like never excited when I say I want to go for a walk because you're just like there, ready to go.
Great analogy. Oh my God. Okay, I got to work on this. Actually, I am working on it.
Okay.
So I'm very open and I share a lot with my podcast listeners. Mm-hmm. My therapist and I are working on my, I grew up in kind of a crazy way. I was realizing that I never had unconditional love and everything was very conditional and I was always replaceable. So I always wanted to impress and do for others to feel that love. And I'm realizing that that's a lot where my, was it bonding?
Yeah.
And my anxious attachment comes from. And
sense.
I want to, which I do love. I do love sex. But I want to please my partner in order to keep him kind of thing. So
well, and that might work out for a little while. But in the long term, when you've moved past the will we stay together or not phase of a long-term relationship, because the book, it's the key to lasting physical intimacy. Yeah. Who doesn't like a good quickie or maybe like a one-night stand or all of that? But I'm talking about for couples who want to stay together forever and don't want a lack of sex or a lack of sexual connection to do them in. Mm-hmm. That's who this is for. So it's not that that won't get you to maybe the second phase of your relationship, but when things settle down, and they always do, 18 to 24 months at the like end of the scale, that's when passion starts to change. I won't say die down, but it changes neurologically and physically. Passion starts to change, and it's up to us to be aware of that and to start to transition and adapt and change into something that's more long term. So many couples break up at the 18-month mark, 2-year mark, because they don't have this like, I will live anywhere with you, I will have sex anywhere with you. It goes into like a, no, we need to like come up for air, and we need, and they don't have that like drive, that internal drive as much. It's more like, oh yeah, I have like a whole family to take care of. Like I need to I'm busy and
I want to read a book.
All of a sudden it's like, you never used to do that before. Now you're spending 2 hours at the gym, and well, I used to do that before I met you. And a lot of people really don't know how to transition to that. So a lot of my practice, we're relationship therapists.
Yeah.
A lot of my practice is helping couples to transition from like that, ooh, we're so into each other, to, oh, okay, now we want to be into each other for the long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's a lot. I love it though. It's so...
No, it's really interesting and helpful.
It's super interesting.
Especially with literally exactly one of the things that I'm working on through therapy. So this is good.
Oh, good.
What is your feeling on, kind of on that same note then, I am a firm believer that you can have sex with somebody on the first date and it can be a long-term healthy relationship. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree? Why not wait kind of thing?
I can't say that there's any rule that works. I feel like everybody's very different. I think it all has to do with your intention. I'm a big fan of dating intentionally. And I do also believe that sexual chemistry is really important, or even just sexual like potential is really important. So if it's just like oh my gosh, I haven't been on a date in months and I need to get laid, that's a little bit different than, I wonder what, like, we're vibing outside of the bedroom. I wonder what it's like inside, and you certainly don't want it to be something that means nothing, just because then you're basically using each other.
Right.
And it probably won't lift off from there.
Yeah.
So I would say as long as it's obviously consensual always. Yeah. But then, or if it's something that you're like, I just want to see what it's like. I want to see, I want to see if the chemistry that we have over dinner can translate to the bedroom. That's okay. But I don't think there's a rule. Some people will say, do not do it. It starts things off on the wrong place. I don't think it's the like kiss of death or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you. So that's kind of affirming, I guess. I'm on the right path there. One thing. What do you think about the feminine and masculine energy? I don't know if it's a quote or if it's a phenomenon or what's going on. What is your opinion there?
Oh, gosh. This is a tough one because we live in the South. It's not like the real, I don't know.
It's the real South a little bit.
But it's Houston, and we're like modern and progressive. And I don't know. I don't see that playing out nearly as much as people who really want true partnerships. But I think that it's a real problem for a lot of people, depending on how they grew up, depending on what they saw in their own families or the shows that they idolized. And I feel like people have, I wish it could be as simple as, well, you need to bring your feminine energy out and he needs to bring it. But like, I'm a little bit of everything. I can absolutely, my husband every once in a while will look over and be like, hi, little boy. Believe me, I can be a complete troll, but like, I don't want to ever be pinpointed and like pigeonholed just based off of my gender.
Yeah.
Like that, or my expressed gender. Like that just doesn't fit for me.
Right.
So overall, I would say I think it doesn't really fit. But if that's something that you're super attracted to, like a really stereotypical masculine energy, look for that.
Yeah.
But just know nobody's ever one thing.
Right.
And depending on what they're going through in their lives, they're going to have different parts of themselves that need to come out to kind of take the reins. Mm-hmm. And you need to be okay with that. And you need to be okay when they back off. But here's the thing, and I kind of had it out recently with another podcast host, so
okay.
You kind of triggered me, Paige.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Because...
Be honest.
Well, I'll just say, and I don't think it was anything that was malicious, and we talked through it, which is what I do, but
mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that his audience was saying feminine is weaker. Okay. And masculine is more, it's stronger.
Right.
I just don't see that. And I don't see it in so many people, at least not anymore. I mean, maybe decades ago, or maybe in like pockets of our population, but I just don't think it fits for most people. I feel like we all just bring out whatever we need. And it's okay to take a step back. It's mm-hmm. okay to take the reins. It's okay to express emotion. It's okay to be stoic at times.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like there's a need or a real like...
need to define.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's a recent thing that I heard about, of course, on the TikTok and all these, dating coaches on Instagram and stuff like that. I am a very independent. I've always just kind of had my own back. I can do everything myself. So I do have a hard time. I will never ask for help, for sure. You will never hear me ask for help. I would like to be better at that. Yeah. But I do need that space to be created for me to be able and comfortable to ask for help. Like Cinqo, my producer here. Mm-hmm. This is a platonic example, but like he came to help me hang something, actually. I think maybe I did ask for help.
Yay, Paige.
Yeah, but then
Yay,
he was
Cinqo.
he's like, hey, can I, this is a great studio. Like, are you looking for a producer? And I was like, I'm good. And then a couple times went by, and I was like, I'm good. I don't need anything. And this is my third season, and I have blood, sweat, and tears, and I don't need anything. And then I accepted. I was like, okay, fine. And it's been great. It's been lovely. It's been a little bit of relief. But he created, I don't know what he did or what space that was that he created for me, because I've known him for a while. He's a family friend. But I do need that space to be there for me to be comfortable asking for help or accepting help. And I guess for me, that's the masculine energy, is just someone, I don't know how to describe it.
See, I just don't think we have the words for it.
Right.
I don't think we have the words for it, because I don't see that as masculine or feminine. I just see that as like ambitious, authentic, or proactive.
Okay.
It's almost like proactive or passive. Mm-hmm. I don't think aggressive works, but proactive or passive. And that sort of energy I can totally understand and see like, okay, that kind of makes sense. There mm-hmm. are times where you need to take the back seat a little bit, and then there are other times where it's like, okay, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. Like, give me the keys.
Yeah.
But I don't think that has anything to do with being...
feminine or masculine.
Okay. I just don't. I think we're all on that spectrum anyway, mm-hmm. and we bring it out as we need to. And some people are really good at saying, like, this is what needs to happen in order to achieve this goal, and other people need to take the long route, and that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Kind of on the same recent phenomenon topic, and a Jack Nicholson movie. What was his movie? What Do Women Want?
No, that was Mel Gibson.
Gibson.
What Women Want.
Yeah. What do women want in a relationship, and what do men want in a relationship? Like, on a very basic level, we're just Neanderthaling it all, cavemaning it around. What do women want, and what do men want?
I think overall, most men, or... but again, like, I don't know.
We're talking in a hetero relationship.
Yeah, in a heteronormative relationship, I would say most men want physical intimacy and most women want emotional intimacy. And they negotiate getting each of those things by giving them the other. Just to be very simplistic, and because we're... This was like the largest
I know. I did, because I wanted it to... I didn't know if I was going to have a chance to get up and re-pour.
You didn't know that I was just going to be
wasn't trying to get you loosey-goosey.
But yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay. I feel like we're constantly trying to negotiate having our needs met. Mm-hmm. And the real, like, impactful needs are emotional and physical intimacy. And when we have both of those in good measure, I feel like things work. Yeah. And honestly, I think that everything that we do does circle around getting those two needs met. Everything. Like if you really start to think about how you kind of schedule your day or the type of communication that you have or what your priorities are, it really is about getting those needs met. Mm-hmm. Now, we get into a whole other thing when we start talking about people who are very attached to work, people who are very attached to parenting, people who really prioritize things outside of the relationship. Then it starts to get into very individualistic ideas of what is healthy. Okay. And for a lot of people, I think they struggle to be in long-term relationships because they feel like it's at odds with their needs as an individual. Hopefully, when you're in a healthy relationship, you get those individual needs met, again, kind of dispersed throughout the couple's needs. It's not always going to be
on, the high of 10.
It's not. Oh my gosh, can we talk about being single? Like I'm like have this like we got to talk about being single these days. Okay.
I'm single and I'm intentionally dating. I told you that months ago when we met.
I know. I was so proud of you.
Yeah.
You totally knew what I was talking about.
I did. And I'm working on it with my therapist. And, like when I meet people on dating apps, because I'm still on, people will be like, what are you looking for? And I'll say that, but I do feel like, I don't want to say that term is like being overused right now, but people are doing that. And so I just say like, I'm serious inquiries only. By the way, how do you say inquiries? Do you say inquiry or
inquiry? That's what I say.
Okay. People are giving me shit because I say inquiries.
Oh, that's weird.
Serious inquiries only. So yeah.
You just need to avoid that word. It's way too awkward. We need a new word for you.
Serious submissions only. I am intentionally dating, and what that means to me is I'm not looking to rush anything. I'm not looking to meet somebody and on the first, second, third date be like, yes, we're together, end all be all. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to have any more long, drawn out relationships where I don't know if there's a future of some sort, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. And so you and like everyone else who comes into my office.
Help.
Seriously.
Me.
Well, I am absolutely becoming more and more dedicated to working with singles more intentionally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm being pulled in that direction more than ever. And a lot of it is because I used to be able to like pull out the really great things that were out there as far as dating apps. I can't say that I was ever a big fan of traditional matchmaking. Not that I could pinpoint anything seriously wrong with it, except that I just didn't feel like the screening and the vetting and like all of that was
my
really there.
Only experience is what's her name, Patty
Stanger.
Yeah,
the Millionaire Matchmaker.
I used to love that show. Very like entertaining.
The OG matchmaker.
Entertaining, but I was like, that could never be me. I could never.
Well,
be
that couldn't
pool.
Be like so really anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like now I cannot tell people like, oh, you should be on that dating app, or this is how you should find some, because it's terrible. It is terrible. The horror stories.
The horror.
Yeah, no, it's really, really bad. And it's like people
Take
like,
our word for it.
Somebody right now is on a terrible date. Like terrible. Not just like, oh my gosh, like he, was eating with his mouth open, or he mistreated like possibly verbally assaulting someone, or hitting on someone else and like I don't know. I mean, it's just gross. It's really gross out there. No, and no, it's a million times worse than what I'm talking about. But
I mean, yeah, I've had different experiences. I haven't had anyone hit on someone in front of me.
Oh,
thankfully.
Well, here's the thing. If I thought that the dating apps had the trajectory that they were on back like 10 years ago, when
it was kind of hush hush,
it was,
and people were being really like,
we met on a dating app.
Like,
now,
let's say we met at Target, even though we didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Now I just feel like even if the dating apps are really trying their best, we've got bots, we've got catfishing, we've got AI chatting for people now and flirting with them. Like they're just, I think technology has just kind of messed everything up. And it's great for hookups.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be great for people who just want to hook up. But for people who want like long-term compatibility, they need something new.
Yeah.
I'm working on something.
You've got something cooking.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, we need it, yeah, because I'm on a couple. I go through I don't know, weeks or months where I don't go on any at all.
You jump in and you get like, I need to get back out there, and then like 3 or 4 days, and you're like, ooh, and then you jump off. That's everyone. Everyone jumps in because they're like, I got to put myself out there, and they like steel themselves to do it.
Yeah,
and then they're like, oh, now I know why I got off.
And I can't tell you how many. It just moves so quickly, and it's so unfair because I feel like for the people that do want the long term or the real life possibility of this, it's like you're having a great conversation and all of a sudden someone unmatches you, and it's not for anything that you said, like it's
and you're left wondering,
and I'm like, what?
Well, and that's why feedback is so important, and these platforms that are out there don't really lend themselves to that. I will say that some matchmaking agencies do ask for feedback so that they can share that with you. But there's just a whole lot going on there that just doesn't end up being on the singles side.
Right, because we've got the apps where the woman is supposed to speak first, which is like pro like
it's
women,
very empowering.
I guess.
Well, it's very empowering.
It's not that I mind saying something first, but it's like I kind of just don't know what to say sometimes. And I would enjoy the man to be the chaser, the pursuer.
That's in my book. You need to read that.
Okay.
Because
I will.
That in and of itself causes a dynamic issue. If someone is chasing, like, when are you going to get caught? Like, is this the way it's going to be forever? Why should one partner be the one who initiates? Why should one partner be solely in charge of whether or not you have sex? Like, there's a whole lot there. And traditionally, men have been the pursuers, and women are like, oh, like, I know he wants me. But what ends up happening is that when you've hopefully become exclusive and you're with someone, they don't want to be guessing that you want them.
For sure.
Men want to feel wanted. They want to feel desired. And if they don't get that at home, they start looking for achievement at work and worse. So this whole dynamic of
Spoiler
like
alert, cheating.
Yes. That's a whole other podcast, right? Unfortunately. But yeah, that's the sort of thing where you're lending a whole lot of energy into something that you don't mean to, which is that, people want to feel good about themselves and want to feel like they've still got it, and they want that at home.
I've started approaching men in real life, and it took me a lot of fucking guts. Excuse me.
Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Totally worth
it. It was so hard to do.
I bet.
Yeah, but I did it, and we did it,
and you need to continue, because you never know who's the guy out there that is like, oh my gosh.
Also, like, hard. I do feel like
I'm competing with all these people.
We have had to adapt, or women have had to adapt, because, like you said, they've always wanted that. But I just think it's becoming more and more like, we want to feel wanted. We want to feel loved. We want to feel sought after. We want to feel chased. Maybe they're not saying that out loud and on social media, but that's the vibe we're getting, right? Or that's the vibe I'm getting. I did ask even one guy on a dating app was really insinuating, like, he asked me what my ideal first date was. I think I mentioned drinks at a cool spot. And he's like, I mean, that was a little fancy or something like that. Like, and basically insinuating that, like, women just want food and drinks. And I said, why don't I take you out? Because I was really interested in him. And I was like, I'll take you out. It's on me. Let's go to this place or this place. I've been wanting to go to both. And he chose one and we went. Yeah. I paid for it. I have to tell you, I felt like shit afterwards.
Why?
I felt like, well, throughout the whole date, he was really concentrated on money. Like, he would say, like, what kind of things do you like to do? And I was like, I love going to, like, Permissions Whiskey, a cool whiskey bar. I'm not really a club person, but, like, a cool lounge. And he's like, I mean, I could make myself a vodka drink for, $1.50, but I guess if you want to spend $17.50 at a bar, I'm like, oh my God, and I'm paying for this guy's food. You know what I mean? Like,
But see, that's the sort of thing where there's someone out there who is completely aligned with him, but it's not you.
Not me.
And it's not me.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Oh.
No, I mean, sure, you can say that about anything. You could say that about anything. It's cheaper if you do it this way. But if you're kind of aligned with someone, it's, where to save some money. You know when the appropriate opportunity. Now, I did read something earlier this week where I was like, this totally makes sense because somebody asked, I can't remember who it was, maybe Chris Rock. I don't know who it was, but they asked him who should pay for the first date. And it's the person who asked the person out. Like the person who asked, I think that makes sense. And then for the second or the third and fourth and all that, maybe you just split it. I can totally see why some men are like, I am not going to be out here spending $100.
I can totally see it's expensive
every single time you take somebody out.
Which is why, and I had a question about that. Like, I'm not going to get into the smoothie date because I've talked about it on a couple episodes already, but I went on a smoothie date where a guy split the smoothie with me, and I almost collapsed on the floor from a heart attack.
Why? Those smoothies are big and filling, right? Like,
Dr. Viviana, get out of my studio.
Wait.
What?
Wait, what kind of smoothie are we talking about?
No, it was like a 16-ounce smoothie. He was like, I want this one. And I was like, that sounds good. I'll have the same thing. He's like, you want to split it? I'm like, split a smoothie? No, I don't. But we did.
Was it a meal? Was it your meal?
I wanted to be more like Mirla and be like, no.
He could have, but he asked. He didn't demand, right? He said, do you want to split it?
No. Yeah. And I said, split it?
No, get your own. No, I'll have my own.
Yeah,
it didn't have to be a big
it was
deal.
It was a big deal.
Well, but some of these smoothies, I obviously missed that one, and a lot of people are like, oh, look, some of these smoothies are ginormous and you need like 2 sittings to get through them. Or maybe he's been there and is like, I know I can't handle this. This has banana. I know you like a good banana. But maybe he's like, this is very filling. I don't need this. I don't know.
Then just suck it up. I mean, not the smoothie, but sit there and just be a champ. You got this, bro.
Was it expensive?
I don't know.
It wasn't that. I think he was just trying to see like,
well,
maybe I don't want a lot. And
I didn't.
Did you have enough?
No, I slurped it up in 2 seconds to make a point.
Oh. Smoothie man. Yeah, smoothie guy. I don't know. You done messed up.
Oh my God. Okay.
I like that he asked instead of assuming. I think it's okay to ask. Sometimes you go to these places and they give you like
some fajitas. Let's split some fajitas.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Let's split a bottle of wine. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's split.
But not a smoothie?
A cheesecake.
What about ice cream? Sometimes they give you like 3 scoops in one. You don't need, and they're expensive. No. Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah. Mm-mm. It can be tough. I'm that person who's like, everybody's getting a kid cone.
I would have taken a small smoothie. A kid-sized smoothie.
You just wanted your own cup.
Yes.
And own straw.
Well, I did get that. I just thought it was weird. It's like, are you cheap? Is it about the money? Is it about, like, you can't, you're a big guy. You can't drink a full smoothie. It was just weird.
I wish we could talk to him.
And also, it was the environment, which is why I want to ask you, like, a smoothie shop, it was empty. It was quiet. It was, like, echoing. I felt it just wasn't a cute.
Yeah.
I've been on a walk date. I've been to Starbucks before. Like, I'm not demanding drinks or dinner at all. I'm very open to.
Whose idea was the smoothie?
Him. And I said, okay.
Did he know the people working there? Did y'all get a hookup? Like, what was that about?
I don't know, but I had if there was any chance of a spark or butterflies.
But you know what? He may have been trying to avoid alcohol, and a smoothie place will absolutely avoid alcohol.
He originally asked me for a drink, but the timing didn't work out, so he was like, "Let's grab a smoothie." Yeah, but is a spark or butterflies on a date? I'm getting to the point. Like, I have a type, and I can't get away from it. Physical. Mm-hmm.
I remember you said that backstage.
Yeah, I do. And I really like to feel something, a spark or a butterfly. Is a spark or a butterfly a good feeling? Is it a warning sign? Because everyone that I've dated with a spark or a butterfly, I'm not with, which means it went poorly. Is it a warning sign or is it an excitement good sign?
I think usually it's an excitement good sign, but it doesn't persist. So I don't know that feeling that right off the bat or not is going to get you from A to Z. Mm-hmm. It might get you to A to B to C to D, but I don't know that it persists long enough. I just see that so many people, that's like a far, and for some people it's sad, but like that's like kind of far long ago. It's not something that like, oh, I still feel those butterflies every day. No,
I don't know that it's like going to last my whole life, but on a first date, if I don't feel some sort of like whoa, I'm so attracted, or like, wow, that was so great. Mm-hmm. I don't really have the want to go on a second. Should I be giving that a second? I think you should be giving them a second. Chance?
Yeah, I think everybody deserves a second date. Anybody can be on for 2 hours. But
or nervous and off for 2 hours.
Or nervous and off. Or like reeling from a terrible meeting at work. Or almost getting cut off and nearly dying on these Houston freeways, you know? Like, I don't know that gives enough. I think people need to definitely get a second date at the very least. I'm a big fan of more than that, but a second date for sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'll do better.
Well, just because I work with so many couples and the way that they meet and the whole progress of their relationship, they never look the same. There is no like, well, when this happens, then this will happen and that will happen. And some people, it's all over the map. So I don't know that there's like if this happens, you need to run.
Okay.
Just because, gosh, people can take a snapshot of any one of our lives and say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else as far as single dating? Yeah. What is your advice? Where should I be going? Like, should I be trying new places? Well, should I get off the apps, delete them, hang in?
So if you're going to stay on the apps, it's such a person, like for some people, it just helps them to like stay current and they're curious. So they jump on to kind of see like who's on there now. Y'all, you have to remember that all of these photos are fake. All of these profiles are, I can't say that they're fake 100%, but they just, look at your own profile. Does that really encompass who you are as a partner? No, it just doesn't. So they're limited and they're limiting. So I would just say if you can remember that when you're going through these things, just know it's very limiting and limited. I'm not going to tell people to get off of them because there really aren't that many alternatives yet that are better. But you should definitely get your head out of your phone. When you're out and about in public, look around. I don't know. I mean, obviously, some people aren't wearing rings that are married. Some people wear rings but are separated. Some people are cheating. I mean, all that. So I don't know that that's like still a great indicator of whether or not somebody's open.
Yeah.
But like, just say hi. Just smile. In Houston, that's not a weird thing. Believe me, it's tougher to say hello to random people in other cities.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I'm always like smiling and like, hey, and they look at you like, what the heck? Right. She's on drugs. She's whatever. But like we live in a city where you can absolutely look up and say hi or spark up a conversation with anyone. Even if it's not for them, we're very helpful. We want to help people find love. So they might be like, are you single? Because my brother or I know this girl, or like put yourself out there in real life.
Okay.
And I think you'll get a lot closer to finding somebody.
That's my goal.
That's your goal. Yeah. I just think people need to get their head out of their phone. Take the earbuds out. That is such a sign and notice, like you put everybody on notice that you're like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You just never know. You never know when you're going to meet that person or know somebody who does, and you're super talkative and you're very like, so I don't get that sense that that's a problem for you, but for so many people out there, they like switch. I'm single. I'm not single. Right. I'm single. Like they're giving those indications. And if you're single and you're really looking for somebody, you need to be open to that and receptive.
Right. What about, last question about single dating. And then I want to ask a few Winers questions. And then I think we're coming close to the time that I promised that you would be here. What about, obviously me as a single woman going out with a couple of my single friends, or even if like one's in a relationship or whatnot, how should I kind of, or how should somebody make themselves like, a group of women can be intimidating for a man. Like, so one, of course, a woman could go up to him, but what's another way to kind of say like, hey, I'm interested in meeting someone other than my group of friends tonight. What's a good indication?
I think if you're single, try not to go out with more than 2 other women at the same time.
Okay.
Because if you want to split off, then there's still 2 women that are hanging out. But when there's 4, like that's it.
It's a gang.
It's
no
a gang.
Coming up.
Yeah, and it's
Gang's
like
over.
Almost like an impenetrable square.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that that's kind of tough as well. Maybe y'all need to take turns, but it's the same thing. If you were to see 4 guys together, oh, that's a little weird, but if you were to see like, and they're all talking, there's no way you're going up to them.
I actually did one time. That was the first time I ever approached a man. He was with 3 other men.
Oh.
And it's because I was like, we're leaving in 5 minutes and I'm doing this. I told my therapist I was going to do it and I did it.
I love that.
And it went well.
But you waited till the last like 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Because I didn't want to sit there and like deal with if he rejected me.
Yeah. Same thing with guys. Like I would say no more than a group of 3, or else it really does seem like, oh, you're having a guy's night, or you're having a girl's night. And that's probably true.
And so, but a good thing to do if that is the case and you see someone that you're interested in and you're like, okay, I'm going to get the balls to go up even though they're having a guy's night, maybe just give them your number on a napkin or like just slide in quickly like, hey, I know you're busy with your friends, but I just saw you and I thought you were attractive. Here's my number. Like, enjoy your night. Hopefully talk to you soon.
And if you feel like, because I don't know that you can give your number to just anybody these days without like really vetting them, but maybe just if you have some sort of a online presence or like a social media handle or something, it doesn't have to be. Okay. That way you can block them and truly block them if you ever need to. Whereas if somebody has your phone number, shoot, that could be a problem.
Yeah, they could look up and do a lot with that.
Not just that, but if it doesn't go well and they end up being weirdos, you're not going to change your number just for anybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Weiner's questions. So I put questions on Instagram. I put my normal question box up and I got quite a few. But someone said, can you put up some anonymous? And then I got a few more. And I think that makes sense. Like I'm an open book, but not everyone is an open book.
Sure.
So someone said, my boyfriend makes the weirdest noises while going down on me and it throws me off. I need to tell him, but I'm scared of bruising his ego.
So it makes noises that are let's just, because again, with these questions, we never know exactly, but let's assume that they are distracting.
Yeah.
Or they're reminiscent of something. If he's like, yep, okay, that's a problem. That's distracting, right?
Oh my God, I would die.
So let's assume that they're distracting. I don't know of any guy that's going to be hurt by like, honey, when you make those noises, I don't know if you realize, but it like gets me out of my head and I'm having trouble staying present with the feelings and I'm going more into like my head. So I don't think that there's any problem.
I'm not able to stay present.
Yeah, like, oh, it's a little bit distracting. Could you maybe keep it down a little bit? Okay. Or, but being vocal is one thing, but it sounds like these are distracting. Or he may be watching a lot of porn and he's like maybe imitating something that he's heard and thinks is hot or sexy. Or maybe it puts him in the mood.
Right.
So this would be a good conversation outside of the bedroom.
Okay.
Like hey, the last time you went down on me, thank you. It was fabulous. But some of the noises were a little bit distracting and I got to stay present. Could you maybe bring it down a little bit? Okay. He might not even notice it's happening.
Yeah.
So it might not be a problem after that.
Okay.
But say something. If you hear something, say something.
If you see something, say something too. Okay. Am I asexual if I never want to have sex? Or could it just be related to past traumas? I have no desire. I've never initiated sex with a partner. I have always waited for them to initiate.
Well, the fact that they said, or could it be related to past traumas, lends itself to, that could be it. It could also be, yes, you could be considered asexual or demisexual. Maybe you don't experience sexual attraction unless you have a really strong emotional connection. It could be that you're just not open to that with this particular person. Maybe your spidey sense is saying this isn't a good person to share that with. Mm-hmm. There's lots of different reasons to feel that way. But if it's something that is continuing to be a problem, reach out to a certified sex therapist. And that's something that we can absolutely help you to figure out.
Okay. Yeah. What is the safest way to go about anal sex? Is a clean out necessary, and what does it entail?
So some people would say that a clean out is necessary for maximum comfort.
What is a clean out? That means going to the bathroom first?
It means actually like doing an enema. Yeah, to really like clean out your bowels so that you can not have to worry about that being such a concern.
Okay.
Some people don't mind that at all. I would say most people probably would prefer that to not be something that happens, just because, again, it can be distracting. It can get them out of the mood or whatever. But again, it's something that your partner and you need to figure out. What I will say is that it is a process. Having good anal sex is a process. It is not a let's try it, or I've got the lube, let's go for it. If you haven't ever tried it with this particular partner, or even if you have, somebody asked, you're asking like the right way to do it, and the right way is to have sessions that build up to that. Okay. That could be using clean fingers. It could be using toys. It could be using dilators. It could be something that goes from like a massage to that. But the way that we are physiologically built, I don't care who you are, we need to have a kind of gradual progress and process in order to really have a likely satisfying experience. Yeah. A lot of people say that they hate anal, and I asked them about the experiences that they've had, and all of them have been like, he just tried to slip it in. That's not the way that our bodies work. Again, no matter who you are, it tends to work out better when there's lube and there's a progression that happens. So a one-night stand, probably maybe don't try that unless it's something that you know exactly what you need to do to get your body ready for that. Just because the likelihood is that it's not going to be as pleasurable as it could be.
Okay. Yeah. Good tips. The last one is, I like porn in moderation together or for solo play, but my boyfriend sees it as an issue. Do you have a suggestion for a compromise?
For most people who see porn as an issue, they've either had their own experiences where it has become a threat or a source of insecurity, or they feel like there's a comparison, or there's a moral issue with it. So I can't say that all pornography is bad, but I will say that most people are starting to find real problems with the consent, the possible like sex trafficking or coercion that can be a part of it. There is some porn that is more ethical, that can still be just as sexy, but I mean, it's like basically saying, I have trouble wearing shoes. Who knows what it is? Like, what kind of shoes? Like, what are we talking about here? So saying across the board, I have a problem with it. No, there's something in particular that you have a problem with.
Okay, so get to the root of the problem.
Get to the root of the problem. Ask more questions. Really try to figure out what about pornography is the problem.
And what about pornography is so important to the other person?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for some people watching, John Wick, it's like, oh my gosh, how do you watch that? It's just killing after killing after killing. For other people, they're like, I get exhilarated by this or, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's important to like, not that porn is equal to killing, but there's a sense of entertainment or like getting yourself like focusing. Yeah. Some people, and that's why I'm a huge fan of erotica and erotic literature. Yeah. Because
love a good romance novel.
Yeah. Well, and I think for a lot of, stereotypically men have trouble trying to figure out like romance and foreplay. And erotica can really help them to do that in a very like non-threatening way. And then for a lot of, women, I think they really enjoy it because they don't have to get hung up on some of the visual things that maybe they don't like. Yeah. They can picture whoever they want. They can picture whatever they want. Right. So it's just like one of those paths of least resistance that I'm a big fan of. Okay. Yeah. Working on something there too, by the way.
Okay. I love it. You're up to a lot.
I am. I'm always up to a lot. And my husband's like, how? Like, no, how?
That's what you're doing till 1 or 2 in the morning.
Exactly. My brain just goes and goes. And I'm always thinking about how to impact healthy relationships. And there's just so many ways to do that. And I just want to do them all.
Well, I mean, your patients, clients,
yeah.
And single people eventually will be able to benefit from that.
I really hope so. Yeah. Right? That's my plan. Okay. I really do love. And I really do sincerely believe that when we are in healthy primary relationships, it's like the sky's the limit. it really does impact you, and it impacts families and generations. And if you're happily single, amazing. That relationship to yourself is super important. But if you're going to be in a relationship, it needs to be a good one, or else you're kind of wasting. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your potential. You're wasting this thing, right? You're just wasting it.
I do say that I've had the chance to see a lot of my friends' relationships and marriages be so successful and loving and great. I've also had a chance to see some end in divorce, and I'm 33 and single, and I can say that like I'm so much happier. I would rather be single and having fun and having great shorter relationships for the rest of my life than be in one where I felt trapped and sad and people pleasy and miserable. So
absolutely,
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I ask a guest for wine of the week every episode. Ooh. I know we've been doing a little bit of that throughout both of the episode, but do you have anything? It could be related to dating, marriage.
Wine of the week.
Your leather pants.
Oh my God. Wait. Let's see if we can hear them peel away.
Oh, yeah, we can.
I've been so good. Like my
honestly,
legs
are you numb? Are you like?
I know. I'm used to crossing my legs often, but
and I'm over here like this. What the hell? Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, the veins are forming as we speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Wine of the week. What is something that just freaking got on my nerves? Well, I just heard another single horror story from my laser hair removal woman.
Tell us.
She told me that she was totally dating somebody, they were clicking, everything was going, and then she just got this feeling like he's only available during certain times. And then she found out that he was married.
Full on married,
like God with kids. And I'm like, what the frick? What the frick, Dr.
Viviana?
What the frick? Like, I don't understand. There are plenty of people out there who will cheat and
knowingly. Yeah.
Like not that that's okay, but like you don't need to hurt somebody else or take somebody down
who doesn't want to be a part of that.
Who doesn't want to be a part of that. There are plenty of people out there who will be a part of that.
So if you're going to cheat, be forthcoming.
Yes.
With the cheatee.
At least that. Like, I know that we're getting to a slippery slope. But like, why take totally somebody else down, and why pull somebody away from possibly finding true love by like getting them involved in your mess?
Oh my God, it's probably so satisfying for them.
If you're thinking about cheating, if you're considering it, or if you're in it, if you've just been found out, if you've just disclosed, come and see me. This is a specialty of mine.
Okay.
I am, unfortunately, constantly working with people who are in that situation.
Okay.
It is so difficult to get through, and nobody ever comes out of it unscathed. So whether you're thinking about it or whether it's already happening and the bomb has gone off in your relationship, get some help for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can be helped. People can get through it.
70% of couples who experience infidelity move through it together.
Really?
But I would say the vast majority of the couples that I work with that have gone through infidelity and are processing it with me, they often will say that they came out of it feeling stronger than they did before. Not that we would ever say, hey,
do it to see. Yeah.
No, but working through it very intentionally and with an expert is probably, I say an expert, I'm so used to saying that for married at first sight, with a professional.
A knowledgeable professional, licensed professional.
Exactly.
Licensed expert. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's terrible. That's a wine of the week.
Yeah.
Well, I told you about the time where I met somebody. So not so good. Okay. Oh my God. This has been such a lovely episode. So this is definitely going to be a 2-part episode.
Great.
I'll split it up however I want, but where can we find you? I know you mentioned it a few times, and I'll have it in the links.
So I am fortunate enough to wear them everywhere as Dr. Viviana. Okay. Spell out Dr. Viviana, and that's DoctorViviana. And I try to put like a bunch of information out there. I do have a style page, which has been a lot of fun, and that's Dr. Viviana Style. And for all of you singles, look, I'm not saying you have to do it, but you have to do it. Go follow Vivid Relationships. That's VIVID Relationships with an S at the end. Something is about to happen that is hopefully going to revolutionize dating.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited about it. I feel like wholeheartedly like this is a game changer for so many. And so if you know somebody who's single, or if you're single and really wanting to put yourself out there, it is time to follow Vivid Relationships.
And not just in Houston, everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It is an honor to have you in the studio.
This is so lovely.
Thank you. Whiners, thank you for tuning in. As usual, you can find me on Instagram at adultishwines, ADULTISHWHINES, and Paige_Crutcher for my personal. And Cinqo, the producer, of course, I'll have his information below. Thank y'all. Love you, and see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.